Hello everyone, this is one of the first videos we're going to do in respect of the partner's perspective of cancer. This really brave gentleman here is the husband of Sharon, and he's had to live through cancer even though he's not personally had cancer himself. So would you just be able to introduce yourself to everyone for me, please?
Yeah, my name's Ian Ralph. I'm Sharon's husband.
So how did you feel when you first heard the diagnosis that Sharon had?
I'd say shock, but shock doesn't really cut it. We were just virtually told there and then at the end of the day, and they said, we need to talk to you. By the way, Sharon's got cancer, you've got cancer, and we're going to deal with it. And that was it basically. There was no, can you sit down, here's a glass of water, and it was just like, it was something that they did every day, and obviously they do it every day.
But for you, it felt like well, I don't want to put words into your mouth, but for you, did it feel a bit like a hurricane or a storm? Just coming.
It felt empty, to be honest. It was just, what do you do? Normally in life, I know whether it's right or wrong, which way to go, and there wasn't a way to go. And to be honest, right at that moment, I could have done with somebody telling me, like, this is what we're going to do. And basically, it was, well, we're going to treat Sharon, and that's it, boy. And we were kind of walked out into the car park, and it was just misbelief. It was just, what do you think? What do you think?
Do you remember what you did for the rest of that afternoon, the rest of that day after you were told?
Not really. Just wondered. My head was empty. It was. I just thought of a million possibilities, but come to no conclusion. It was just. I talked to Sharon. That basically that was it. But there was like some really long pauses.
A lot of empty space.
Yeah.
So, who was it between you and Sharon that broke the news to the rest of the family, i.e., children, your parents, siblings?
Sharon did a lot of it, and she kind of asked me not to tell anybody before she told anybody in case the news got around, sort of thing. But yeah, I did tell my daughters. I mean, Sharon's got stepdaughters as well, and I told some of my family, and it was and it was we kind of told respective halves of our family, and that basically that was it. I mean, we normally do take things, even if they're bad, as a matter of fact, it's happened, and you get on with it. It's just a big thing, and we waited a bit of time before we told anybody.
So, jumping on a bit, Sharon's had surgery, she's had treatment.
Yeah.
How was it for you as a partner seeing your partner go through treatment and being so poorly?
It's awful. You feel pretty helpless when you do all you can, and there doesn't seem to be many answers. You know that they're going to be, well, hopefully they're going to be cancer free, and you know that the treatment's going ahead, but you can see the damage the treatment's going, and where it's going. I mean, you can see the mental change in that person, and that person there is not the person you knew 6 months, 2 years, 10 years ago.
And how did you cope with that?
It's awkward. It's very, very awkward.
Did you feel as though you could talk to Sharon about the way you were feeling about her changes, or?
I thought it was unfair that I would. You know, I did at some stages, but it was very unfair that that I thought that it was that I would put the weight of myself, you know, on Sharon and the way I was feeling. You know, there's extra workload, everything, and that's on the selfish side on my part. But
I wouldn't quite call it selfish, because a lot of people don't understand that actually cancer affects the family and not the person who's been diagnosed with cancer. And along with cancer comes the extra burden and the extra workload on somebody, whether that be a partner or a carer or another family member.
Yeah, it's the way I mean, it's the way I thought about it. I didn't want to put the extra weight of me feeling depressed about it or anything onto Sharon. So you're pretty much by yourself on that.
Did you feel as though you got any support from anyone in the hospital, or?
No. I got handed a couple of leaflets a couple of times, but that's paper, and it's just not.
It's impersonal.
It's very impersonal.
Do you feel as though you would have benefited from having like a husband support group to attend?
Yes, yeah. I think that would have been a great thing, somewhere where you could just either sit down or just go somewhere at a certain time and say, right, yeah, we're just going to talk about it. You can all, well, either feel crap together, or you can say, well, you're not the only person feeling like that.
Give each other some hints and tips on how to deal with them when they're being sick and through the first week of chemo, because that's the roughest. And
yeah, I remember that. I mean, remember Sharon the first or second time with chemo, to get actually home. I was driving home, and I found it really strange to be like, you come out of chemo, and there is nowhere really that you go to the car park. Sharon sits down, and by the time we're out of the gate to the hospital, she's saying, pull over, I need to be sick. And then for 3 or 4 times sometimes, and it's just, what do you do? There's got to be ways of coping. I mean, we did with a bag in the car after that, but nobody ever told you that beforehand. It would have been a handy tip, at least that, if you're driving back home, beware that, your passenger is going to throw up everywhere.
Hints and tips that other people can give you.
Yeah, it's just one thing. You might think, well, that sounds silly, but it's not. It's, when you're not aware of it, you're just going out there with no tools for the job.
Yeah.
They don't tell you that the chemo makes you that sick for that amount of time, that they're going to be out of it for, a week afterwards, and not be able to really look after their selves very much at all.
So can I ask a personal question in respect of your wants and needs in the relationship? How did Sharon having cancer affect that?
A lot, really, a lot. You, as a man, you want to tell your wife she's beautiful and everything, and you want to do what you normally do. But the thing is, you've got a sick person there, and you can't put that on somebody. So everything gets put on hold, and I mean, sometimes you say that, and it's like Sharon was not being told she was still beautiful or anything like that. It's such an awkward position to be in. It's a horrible position to be in, and you tend to just, like, your wife's in bed, you lie there by the side of her, you talk to her, or she's already asleep, and it's just like having somebody who's in a different world at some stage right by the side of you, who you don't want to hurt at all, but you care for them. And I say hurting, in a physical way, and or even in a mental way. So you were just living as a person that 6 months, a year ago, or whatever, you just a normal life, and then it's just been taken away, and everything that was there is no longer there, including some of the tenderness. Even though you're lying by the side of them, they're ill. It's hard.
A lot of people struggle to speak about this, and so I just want to say thank you for being so open and honest. One of the things Sharon mentioned when I spoke to her was that she was just existing.
Yeah.
How did you feel?
Well, to be honest, yeah, you do feel that that person's just existing, and because obviously in a partnership, we've got everything else, the house, everything else, the workload has doubled or more than doubled because you've got that person to look after as well.
Mm-hmm.
So your physical needs or anything, everything goes. You're always tired,
Mm-hmm.
and you're fed up. And whether in in your relationship, normally you might be fed up with one kid.
Yeah.
The whole thing rubs off on everybody else because you don't feel happy in one situation, and suddenly you're looking after two kids and a sick person and yourself, and there's just no time for anything else. So everything gets put on hold for a long time, a ridiculously long time.
Can I just ask you a question about finances?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't understand that with cancer comes huge financial burden because, like you say, you were looking after Sharon and the two kids, whereas before all of this, you were the breadwinner, you were the person that was the main income, and all of a sudden you have to stop to going to work. How does that affect the family and the dynamics and everything?
I was actually lucky, if you can call it lucky, that just around the same time, I was worried sick about what would happen because obviously, if you ask your job, I need time off, I need to go now, there's this with the family, that with the family, you've got kids going out to school at different times, somebody's got to pick up the kids, there's a million and one things, whereas Sharon used to do those things, she's not capable anymore, or it'd be very hard for her to do, so I've got to step in and do it. And I used to work like 14 hours a day. Very often it was 14 hours a day to pay for everything. And then suddenly you've got somebody who's demanding more hours, and it was hard even to get holiday where I used to work, or time off for this, that and the other. And even you can see the managers thinking, even if your wife's sick, mate, why do you need so much time off? It's frustrating. You actually become unhappy in your work. And I would say I was lucky because at the time they were handing out redundancies, and they said, "Have you got any objections to going?" And I said, "How much do I get?" They told me how much I got. I said, "Bye, boys. That's how I need to look after my wife."
Yeah. And if you weren't a strong couple, how do you think that would have affected you and Sharon if you didn't get that redundancy?
I would imagine it would rip some families apart, because if the redundancy wasn't on the table and that big lump of money coming in and that leaving me free for at least a year to look after Sharon, then I was lucky in the one respect that I could just step out of work at that time. But I could have fought for my job, and I've been at the job 15 years. I loved the job. It would have been a really, really horrendously hard thing to say. To give up a job that you've worked up that long for, and I think to actually do it, hats off to people who do their job and come back and look after people, because juggling everything is just ridiculous.
So you became literally overnight mum, dad, provider, cleaner, caretaker of everything.
Yeah.
And how did that affect your mental health?
It's draining. It's absolutely to be honest, I could say, yeah, I cope with it, I did it, which I did, but it's draining because there's not a spare minute in the day, and it's not just becoming a housewife or a house husband. It's you've got another responsibility as well, which is the person, and you've got kids going, when's mum going to be all right and stuff like that, and even down to walking the dog. I can't leave the kids in the house by themselves, and I class by themselves even with Sharon in the house while she was bad. So then the dog's got to not get walked for a bit, which is unfair on the dog. I'm feeling guilty about that. I'm feeling guilty about some of the things that kids are not doing because I'm having to look after the other child, and it's you virtually become. Sometimes it feels like you become a single parent and looking after somebody else at the same time overnight.
Is it fair to say that you suffered mentally as well then?
Yeah. Depressed was a fair.
Yeah.
You know, it was hard to sleep sometimes, even though I was tired. You go past tired.
And you mentioned having to deal with the kids and tell the kids. How did you cope with some of the outbursts from the children saying, I want mummy, I want my mummy back, when you know that mum's still here, but mum is so unwell?
Yeah, so sometimes it was just, I'd crack and I'd be angry at them, you know, just sometimes I'd send them to bed, and that's the wrong thing to do. It's such a hard thing to cope with, like, you know, sometimes you just want to hug them and stuff like that, but you can't give them any concrete answers. You say mum's going to be well one day, but children don't understand that.
No. How did you cope then with not only dealing with children, but one child being disabled as well?
It is really hard. I mean, we did have at the time, we had a carer that came in and helped us for a short while, but then she had her own problems and we had to find another carer, which was something else. I mean, Sharon did sort that out. She's better off at talking to people and stuff like that, but that absolutely knackered her out. That did actually sorting that out. It probably made her worse for a bit, but actually trying to just employ somebody as a carer for like 3 or 4 hours a week or something just to help was, you can't do all your household stuff, look after the kids, walk the dog, everything else that needs doing around the whole house, and look for, you know, just staff that can help for 3 or 4 days, and then you find out you got somebody who doesn't even care about the kid, who's no good, and you have to go and get another one. And it's just frustrating. Everything's frustrating. You feel like you're doing 2 steps forward and 5 steps back half the time. It's just, and if something else happens, like some household thing, like you get a leak, or you get the washing machine goes on the blink, or anything else, which happened all over, you know, the light bulb's gone off in the toilet, and you think, oh, I've just sat down with my first cup of tea of the day. You know, and I've got and then everything else. It builds up to a certain point where you just thought,
you can't take much more.
You can't take much more. I mean, to be honest, sometimes you think, you know, you could just walk out the door, you could go.
And so you understand why some relationships
fall apart. I understand that. Yeah.
And it's not for anyone to blame. So if there was a support system around, i.e. like Joe's Hope, where you could have attended sessions with other husbands or other dads, and the kids could have associated for maybe 1 hour in the evening to give you a reprieve and to help Sharon feel a bit like she did before the cancer invaded her life.
Yeah.
How do you think this whole scenario and everything you felt would have been different?
It would have softened the blow. You know, it would have softened the whole thing. I mean, if there's a chance, I mean, we were told before by certain parties that, you know, somebody can come in and sit with Sharon and stuff like that, and say, okay, who are these people? And say, we'll get back to you. And then nothing happened. And then you have to go through it all again because somebody hasn't either put the paperwork in, or you've got to apply for it or something. And then just nothing came out. Nothing actually came out of anything. It was just like, some people, you've got help there, and then you come to it and they say, well, no, not really.
It sounds as though it was a very frustrating process, and Joe's Hope is trying to take away that frustration.
Well, that's what needs to be done. Like, you know, if people promise something or say we can help you,
Yep.
then you know, please help people. Don't leave them hanging on the end of a string.
Yeah.
And say we can help you. Let's just see if you fit all the criteria.
There is no criteria with Joe's Hope. All you need to have done is had cancer. That's it.
That's what you need, because you've got some people. There's a great big checklist. A couple of people come round, and then they say, well, we'll have to go back, and you still have to go to admin, and this, that, and the other. And 6 weeks later, you say, and they say, well, no.
That's what Joe's Hope's main goal is to cut out all the red tape, because I found the same thing that you found, that there was a lot of criteria and checklists that you had to meet, and it's like, hang on a minute, are you trying to differentiate between the cancers? Cancer is cancer.
Yeah.
It's affected us differently, yet the same.
Yeah.
Why are we having to fill in a form for this and fill in a form for that, then wait 6 to 18 or 12 weeks? And it's like, no, I need help here, now.
Yeah.
Cancer, you haven't got 6 to 18 weeks for some cancers, you know. It's here and now. Exactly. Where's the help now?
So it's what you need, not to be given a form to phone somebody up on a switchboard. They say, we're going to send all the forms out to you. You get the forms. They come out and they say that you've got to fit a certain criteria, and this, and at the end of it, to be told after 6 to 8 weeks of actually doing so, and then you have to phone them up, and you've got that little bit of hope to say, well, I could, just do this, and they say, oh no, it's been decided now, and you think, well, what have I just been doing for 8 weeks with that bit of hope? It's dangling a carrot that's not there,
And that's what Joe's Hope is trying to dispel and remove. So, Ian, thank you very much for speaking to us.
No problem.
It's been greatly appreciated. Thank you.